Doesn't get much better than this. A Game 7, again, an unlikely one. Let's look at Houston. They've done some amazing things just to get here. But despite all the positives, there are not many people outside of their locker room, Mark, who feel they can win. What do you think?
Well, I don't pick them to win the ball game. It's an awfully tough task. But this is a team that all they have to do is play hard, play smart, make sure they execute, and have fun. When you do those things, this is Game 7, Coach. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and the trick will be to stay close going into the fourth quarter. To do that, they've got to handle the ball, they've got to make threes, and they have to keep Chuck Hayes out of foul trouble against Gasol.
As for the Lakers, so much made about Kobe Bryant. Will he come out and look to score? Phil Jackson yesterday said he wants him to be a playmaker. Jeff, what kind of game does he need to have?
Well, I would want him to be a playmaker by shooting 30 times if necessary to win. He should play the entire game or until it's decided.
Well, to me, this has been a series of quick starts. The team that jumps off early and gets it going. You take a look at Kobe Bryant. His numbers after losses is important for him to have a stamp on this ball game from start to finish.
Let's take a look at our starting lineups presented by Taco Bell. And the starts have been huge, as Mark says. Of course, Chuck Hayes starting for Yao Ming, and he is such an important part despite averaging just 2 points per game in the series. He's their best low-post defender for head coach Rick Adelman. And for the Lakers, Andrew Bynum, who has struggled coming back from the knee problems and the knee surgery. He is still in the starting lineup. Lamar Odom will come off the bench. A veteran crew officiating here this afternoon, led by Joey Crawford, Mike Callahan, and Danny Crawford, as we're set to go for this Game 7. And Mark, you played in Game 7 as a player. Is there really that much of a difference in terms of your mindset once the game starts?
Well, you don't have as much rest as you normally would have because you didn't sleep all night long. But you just treat it like it's a regular ball game. Go out and don't try to do too much as a point.
Trevor Ariza gets inside and gets tripped. The foul will go against Luis Scola. His first. Jeff, you coached in Game 7s. Do you coach any differently in this scenario?
No, I don't think you coach any different, especially because for Houston, for example, the last game was an elimination game as well. So an elimination game in itself may bring about a tighter rotation, but the preparation is very similar.
Ariza hits the first. It's been a crazy series. And again, Yao Ming was injured at the end of Game 3 and done for the rest of the season. Everybody thought the Rockets were done, but then they turned in an amazing blowout performance in Game 4. Came back here in Game 5 and lost by 40. And everyone again thought the Rockets were done. Yet they showed their resiliency by winning Game 6. And here we are on a Sunday afternoon for Game 7.
That's why I think it's so important for the Rockets. They're playing with house money. Nobody expects them to be in this situation, but finish the deal off. Don't just be satisfied with being in the Game 7.
On our chest, way off. Missed that one by about 3 feet. Much to the delight of this crowd. The crowd that got going early. Kobe Bryant's first shot won't go. They actually booed during the national anthem. It's not that they're not patriotic. That line about Rockets red glare, they were very upset about it.
But they created a wide-open three off the high pick and roll. Houston has to continue to pick and roll because it's the Lakers' greatest weakness defensively.
Scola blocked by Gasol. The Laker defense has been really up and down in this series as Kobe Bryant drives on the first field goal of the game.
Two things right away. The contest of the jumper by Pau Gasol stretching his defense. And you see Kobe Bryant in attack mode, not just strictly a jump shooter early.
Artest guarded by Ariza. A lot of enticing matchups. Another deflection. Fisher with the steal. Gasol, his pass deflected out of bounds. Good start defensively for L.A.
And this was a rhythm jumper the other day in Houston. All of a sudden, you put a body closer to him, you use that length, and you're able to block the jump shot attempt and score.
Phil Jackson says their activity level defensively has been up and down. That's a kind way of saying they just haven't played consistent defense, and the ball tipped in. Trevor Ariza in the right place at the right time, and it's 5-0.
Well, Coach, something we talked about. We're seeing much more Pau Gasol facing Chuck Hayes as opposed to posting him up.
Right, and the ability to try to go by him on the dribble, you have a much better chance to do that than you do to back him in.
Rick Adelman told his team, you heard it, about careful of the early big start for the Lakers. Brooks knocked out of his hands. Yet another turnover. Ariza open for three. Rick Adelman gets up, and I think he's going to want a timeout. An 8-0 run to start for the Lakers. Welcome back to L.A. Game 7, a quick start for the Lakers, 8-0 as we welcome in Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Hey, Mike. As you mentioned in the open, the question throughout the course of this series is what on earth are the Rockets still doing here? Through all of the injuries they've faced, the trade of Rafer Alston, and then the gunshot to Carl Landry. I asked Shane Battier, how does this team continue to persevere? He said two things. One, we've got enough divergent personalities on this team, goofballs in his mind, that we never get too high, never get too low. He said we can count on two things. As Ron Artest pulls the trigger on a three, he said, one, we will focus on the task at hand regardless of who's in uniform, and two, we will give a great effort. They're going to need some resiliency here, Mike, to come back from the 8-0 deficit.
And they need to start hitting some shots as well, Doris. Artest, as Gasol called for a foul after missing his first two from downtown. He's now 3 for his last 22 in the last 3+ games. Much more effective down low. There comes a point where you just have to stop shooting him, right?
Well, I think he's the guy that can create offense, but he has to trust other guys. Aaron Brooks in pick and rolls can make the game so much easier for every other Rocket. Ron Artest, simply put, has not had a good series.
And again, each team has got off to quick starts. Remember Game 6 Friday night in Houston, actually it was Thursday night. It was 17-1. 21-3, Houston. And now just the complete opposite as Gasol's shot won't go. Scola the rebound.
To me, though, Houston got off to a good start in Game 5, where they got blown out. It's when Chuck Hayes got in foul trouble. Right now, to me, keep putting Aaron Brooks into pick and roll.
Battier short. 0 for 5 now. Fisher, who's been struggling in the series. Hard drive won't go. And a foul's going to be called. Bryant tried to tip it in and got pushed from behind by Aaron Brooks. And the Lakers will take it out of bounds.
And I like the Lakers watching them early. They're playing with a sense of urgency. And when they play this way, the Rockets have no chance of beating them. Talk about not giving up on plays. Kobe Bryant chasing down the second shot opportunity.
That was Kobe Bryant pushing Aaron Brooks, not Scola pushing Kobe Bryant.
Brooks didn't like the call. There's Ariza looking down low. Artest on Ariza. Battier on Bryant.
And to me, the Rockets have to get Scola involved in the game in the post, where he abused them the last game.
At 14 points early. Brooks, nice move. Can't finish. A little too much English. They still haven't scored. We played 4 minutes. Fisher with a hand in his face, way off the mark. He has really struggled shooting the ball in this series. And has struggled guarding Aaron Brooks. Artest. Scola. Hayes, the offensive rebound, blocked by Bynum. Lakers defensively are sharp. Battier has made Bryant work for his stuff. Sometimes he just can only do so much as Bynum's shot won't go, and Scola another rebound.
One thing you don't want to do when a team has a tough time getting it going early, you don't want to allow them to get an easy field goal attempt. Make them work if you're the Lakers defense.
Artest looks over the shot clock. Artest off balance. That's his second air ball. Not even close.
And this is where you miss a low post presence where you can just drop it into the post with Yao Ming. That's why Scola's got to be that guy.
Ball deflected by Artest. Looked like Gasol got hit. Brooks was a good thing by throwing it up after the bump. And Brooks will go to the free throw line as the Rockets are looking for their first points of the game. And they're over 5 minutes in. There you see Artest was shooting the three well the first couple of games. But the last three have been just downright awful from the perimeter. His defense has been strong as always, but he has really struggled shooting the ball.
And that's where Aaron Brooks is going to gain more and more experience. Right now, he's a scoring point guard. To be a true point guard, there are going to be times when you have to keep the ball away from the Ron Artest of the world because they do so much damage, creating havoc as far as turnovers, bad shots. Sometimes you have to stay away and run your offense.
Brooks, the second-year man out of Oregon, who took over the starting point guard duty, gets their first points of the game. It took him 5 minutes and 7 seconds to get on the board.
But you make a great point, Coach. We have not seen Louis Scola on the block with the basketball yet.
Bynum puts it in. Andrew Bynum, who has struggled coming back from the knee surgery. He's been scoreless in 3 of the first 6 games. Is active in the early going year.
And that's where size matters. Long rebound, Bynum's size just overwhelmed Scola.
Hasn't been able to stay on the floor. Ineffective play. And sometimes some foul difficulties. Pass deflected out of bounds. Still Rockets ball with 5 on the 24.
When you're mismatched size-wise, Scola's got to do a better job blocking out away from the basket, because when the ball bounces out long, Bynum's size is going to win out.
Brooks has to throw it up, and that barely grazes the rim. Again, with Bynum and Gasol out there, and Chuck Hayes starting for the Rockets. Hayes, they list as 6'6". He's about a foot shorter than Yao Ming, but they've not been able to really take advantage of that size differential. Ariza to the basket. And Hayes, such a strong rebounder. He's undersized, but he plays as hard as anybody in the NBA. Brooks jump shot. Won't go. Valier battling. Takes it away from Bynum. Well, right now, the Rockets 0 for 11 from the field.
And this is bad offense for the Rockets. Very predictable. Instead of being aggressive and trusting each other, not a lot of man movement or ball movement.
Brooks on the drive. Blocked by Bynum, his second rejection. And he gets it to Bryant. Andrew Bynum's size making a difference here in the opening minutes. Ariza for 3.
Well, people don't realize the ability of having big guys run the floor. Pau Gasol running the floor created that opening for Trevor Ariza.
Ariza 9 points here in the opening minutes. Ariza, very good defender, doesn't have the size for our test, but the smarts. And Chuck Hayes, who's only averaging 2 points a game in the series despite his value, gets their first field goal. It took them 7 minutes and 15 seconds.
And they tried to post Artest, but to me, Artest is given too much ground, being pushed out to an 18-foot post up. He needs to get closer to the basket.
Fisher, that's good. A 2-pointer for Fisher, who in this series is shooting just 29% from the field. In fact, Jordan Farmar, who's been playing more minutes in this series. But Fisher is the veteran. This is his 4th Game 7. He's 3-0 in Game 7s. 2 with the Lakers, 1 with Utah. And a foul called on Bynum as he knocked Battier to the ground.
Tell you what, if you're Derek Fisher, you're excited. Struggling all series long. Finally touches the bottom of the net. One thing about Derek Fisher, he's a guy not afraid of the moment. He's not going to turn down shots. And if you're the Lakers, you don't want guys playing tentative or passive on the floor.
But to me, that same shot that went in is the same shot he's been taking in the series, which is contested shots. To me, that's not a good shot for the Lakers.
Hayes unable to get the handle.
No, but that's the type of defense you force Chuck Hayes to beat you as Fisher knocks down another one.
And see, to me, there's a huge difference. That's a transition jumper that's open, that's caused, like you said, Mark, off good defense versus the majority of the shots that he's taken so far in this series.
Well, the difference in defensive intensity here in the first quarter as opposed to Game 6. It's like night and day as Artest comes up with it again. The shot clock winding down. Battier trying to get something going and knocks down the 2-pointer.
But, Mike, they need to get a post presence right now.
And Fisher's going to call a timeout. With all due respect to Chuck Hayes, who's been so good in this series and such an important part of the Rockets' success, he's taken the most shots on the team. You don't want that if you're Houston.
Oh, you absolutely don't. But give the Lakers credit, making an adjustment. Chuck Hayes is a liability offensively, and they're forcing him to be an offensive guy.
So he goes to the bench, and Carl Landry comes in for some offense. Hayes is the defender. Landry is more of the offensive player, who's not nearly the defender that Hayes is. Yao Ming and Dikembe Mutombo. Mutombo wrecked his knee in the first round in their 6-game series win over Portland. So not only did they lose Yao Ming, but they lost their backup center as well. 4 on the shot clock. Jordan Farmar can't get it to go. Ball taken by Odom. He comes in right away, gets an offensive board. Ariza misses the 3, and Farmar tracks it down. Bad pass that time. This Rockets also without Tracy McGrady. His season ended back in February as he had knee surgery. That's why it's been such a surprise this team is where they are. Landry, he can score inside and able to get it to go.
It's the first time they've dropped the ball in to one of their bigs on the post. That gets you a better tempo and gets you to be able to set your defense in transition.
Good defense that time for the Rockets. Farmar gets inside, drive to Gasol, pretty pass.
Jordan Farmer, the one guy that can put the ball on the floor for the Lakers and make a play for somebody else. That time, that was unscripted. That's not a set play. That's Farmer ad-lib.
Brooks comes up. Farmar has a little more quickness to deal with Brooks. There's Scola in the post. Against Gasol, inside, flips it. Oh, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, that's a nice shot, but if you're Pau Gasul, at some point you got to say, I have to get it done defensively. That's back-to-back plays, first Landry and then Scola. You got to be more aggressive and play with force defensively.
Scola's such a clever player. Gasol to Ariza. Shot clock down to 6. Farmar looks up, wants to do the pick and roll. Jordan Farmar falling away, tough shot. And Scola the rebound. The Rockets have recovered a little bit after missing their first 12 from the field. They did 4 their last 5. Scola looking. Takes his time. Back shot won't go.
That's a quality shot, though. Shane Battier crowded his post up there, but that's a quality shot, which allows you to set your defense.
Battier picks up the foul. The shot won't count. Came before. 14th foul.
Well, they scored 2 straight times in the post. Shane Battier coming back to the strong side. But still, that's a good shot for them. 3 straight post-ups. It's a way to control tempo and get your defense set at the other end.
Substitutions, Kyle Lowry. Von Wayford come in for Houston. Bryant gets it into Ariza. Ariza aggressive. Gasol, offensive board. Back up, count it, and a foul. Lakers size taking advantage here in the first quarter.
Now, you can say some of the things that Pau Gasul is not defensively, but offensively, the guy flat out gets it done. You talk about great hands, the ability to offense rebound, keep the ball up high, gets the basket and the contact.
Gasol earlier this week named All-NBA third team, first time in his career. He's starting out to be talked about as one of the elite players. He's done a tremendous job being the number 2 man here in the Lakers since being acquired last year from Memphis. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the game.
I think this year he was the second best player in the NBA.
So consistent. And the team has been so consistent since he came here. So the series, perhaps. Nice back door to Scola. Pretty pass. Phil Jackson yelling, I believe, at Lamar Odom as they came up the floor. He was upset.
They wanted to know why Lamar Odom's guarding Chuck Hayes out at 17 feet.
Bryant to Odom. Blocked from behind. Battier got a piece. And the Rockets will hold it for the final shot of the quarter. Lowry, the backup point guard, obtained in a trade back in February. He's played well. Gets it to Scola down the lane. Running shot, no good. Gasol the rebound. Farmar from 3/4 court.
Coach, you were concerned about this start exactly. What went wrong initially on the offensive end?
Well, they put a lot of pressure on us, and we didn't react very well.
They are an explosive offensive team. Where are they hurting you right now?
Well, early in the game, when they put that pressure on us, we didn't respond offensively, and they got to the open court.
Coach, thank you. Mike.
All right, Doris. Certainly Rick Adelman's team is down by 10, but by the way this game started, in some ways, Rockets should say, okay, we're only down by 10.
Well, absolutely, especially making mistakes. And it wasn't like the Lakers picked it up defensively, even though they did. It was unforced errors by the Rockets. So they have to be excited about still being in this ball game because they should be down 20 and in the first game.
And Jeff Kobe Bryant, just 2 points, but he had 3 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal.
Well, because their defense was so dominant to start the game, they were able to get out in the open court and get some other guys good opportunities.
But the Lakers only shot 39%. Rockets perhaps weathering the first storm. Defense at 3 seconds. Goes against Luke Walton, so one-shot technical.
Again, it came off of the post-up of Luis Scola. They're having to react to that, and it's the only opportunity to draw a double team.
Battier hits a free throw. He's now 12 for 12 in the series. Fans go to NBA.com/amazing right now to create a video playlist of your favorite NBA playoff moments. Choose from an extensive library of the best playoff moments in NBA history, and then share your playlist with friends. Cisco and the NBA let you decide where amazing happened. Scola, Lowry, Artest, Chuck Hayes back in, and Von Wafer for the Rockets.
Again, Rick Adams taking out Battier because Bryant's on the bench trying to match Battier with Bryant.
And how about Phil Jackson was getting ready to insert Kobe Bryant back in the ball game, really forcing the hand of Rick Adelman to call them back.
Gasol inside using his height. At that time, Scola comes in.
That was a great duck in by Gasol. He got very deep, so he didn't have to try to back down Hayes on the dribble.
Lowry tried to jam it inside. Third turnover for Houston. Farmar drives down the lane, count it, and one. Jordan Farmar, who kind of lost his spot in the rotation earlier in the playoffs, back doing some good things.
Again, another Rocket turnover gets the Lakers into transition. Good drive and finished by Farmar with very minimal contact.
Farmar, who was born and raised in L.A., college ball at UCLA, a dream to play for the Lakers. Been a big part of them the last couple of years. He was had some uneven performances late in the season. But now in this series, he's been playing more minutes than Derek Fisher. He needed his youth and quickness. Wafer can't handle a pass. Carl Landry's going to come back in. And Scola gets his first rest. Just over a minute gone by here in the second. It has been a real struggle offensively for the Rockets. 5 of 21 from the field with 4 turnovers. They did win game 1 here of this series, but Yao Ming played in that game, and he was their most dominant player. Farmar to Gasol, and an offensive foul. Chuck Hayes, the intangibles, draws the charge. Farmar his first. Here's just an example of why Hayes is called the MVP of the team in this series by the likes of Battier and Scola.
That's where the NBA's changed. It used to be that after you release the ball in the pass, they wouldn't give you a charge. Now they're making that call much more like they do in college basketball.
Artest. Walton on him. Artest spinning, gets inside. And a foul call on Luke Walton. First on Walton. First team foul.
And I think if you're the Lakers, you have to continue to execute defensively. Luke Walton defending Ron Artest. It cannot be one-on-one. 4 guys have to be in help position, forcing Artest to give the basketball up.
Lowry would take it out. During the regular season, the Rockets under 500 on the road. In the playoffs, they're 2-4 on the road. And here in game 1, they won in Portland as well. Hayes up and under, left-handed, snaps it in. Well, Hayes has already exceeded his scoring average. He's got 4.
And I'm from New York City. There's no way Lamar Odom is going to be able to go back home this summer after Chuck Hayes made that move on. That is not Hakeem Olajuwon. That is Chuck Hayes that just screwed Lamar Odom.
Gasol steps out, short.
And again, the Rockets going with 2 point guards, Lowry and Brooks, to match the speed of Farmar and Vujacic.
Lowry more of a pure point guard. Brooks more of a scoring point guard. Artest holding on, looking, gets it to Hayes. Landry, 2 on the shot clock, going to have to put it up. Nice defense from Odom. And Gasol with a rebound, already 6 boards for Gasol, taken away. Artest off offensive foul. Lower the shoulder as Walton does a good job recovering.
I tell you what, Luke Walton has done an outstanding job all game long, as early as it is, defending Ron Artest. Following the game plan, sitting on his left hand, forcing him to go right, and that time willing to sacrifice his body, takes the hit. Outstanding job by Luke Walton, paying attention to details. That's how you win game 7s in this league.
Farmar, Vujicic, Walton, Bynum back in, and Odom. Sasha Vujicic, who's been looking to find his outside stroke. Bynum guarded by Hayes. Nice move from the big man. Andrew Bynum, 4 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of block shots.
Staying in character. Good job of allowing everybody to get away from him and then taking advantage of his size.
Artest steps back, still struggling. 0 for 4. Odom for 3. Lamar Odom from downtown. Largest lead of the first half. Timeout, Houston.
You actually grew up watching Frank Robinson, didn't you?
Absolutely. And Jack Nicholson has earned the right to be last every time. That's like Spike Lee being last in New York.
Because of his loyalty?
Absolutely.
Not his star power.
No, his star power too.
Landry can't get it to go. Ball tipped and taken by Walton. Boy, Lakers really competing on the defensive end. There's a kickball. I know that sounds like it should be every time, but it hasn't been every time with them in the playoffs. But they are playing some good, intense defense here today.
Well, right here, again, locked in defensively. A half switch against the pick and roll. Good post position by Landry. Those are the shots the Rockets are going to have to convert to stay in the game.
Bryant throws up an air ball. He felt he was fouled. Battier once again. He does that excellent defense where he sticks the hand right up in the face. Normally doesn't bother Kobe Bryant. He thought there was some contact. By the way, Kobe Bryant's technical foul from last game was rescinded as Aaron Brooks knocks it down. And Brooks, who they could use to get going, gets his first field goal. He was 0 for 4.
Sometimes when you're struggling, Mark, offensively, you just got to simplify. High pick and roll with Brooks, post your 2 post players to try to get quality shots.
Nice move. A couple of guys from Queens going at it. Odom goes right at Artest.
Ron Artest is the guy that played AAU ball with Lamar Odom. You got to send him to his right. You cannot allow him to get to his left hand. That's a blow by. That's bad D.
Artest wants to post up Bryant down the other end. And a foul call on Kobe Bryant. These two have had a couple of little incidents where they've gone face to face. Not that time. Both do a good job.
Actually talking to one another. Kobe is saying, hey, keep your elbows down. Ron is saying, no elbows there, but I like these guys are competing. They get after it. They're not trying to be friends during the game.
Brooks. Inside pass by Bynum. And Bynum's size has been huge defensively.
And that's where Brooks has got to bounce past the ball. He's not big enough as Bryant pulls up and knocks it in. Brooks isn't big enough to throw it over defenders. He's got to throw it below him.
Once again, a big double-digit lead in the first half. We've seen it so often in the series. It's up to 16 now for the Lakers. Landry. Again, shot clock winding down. Scola gets inside, flips it up, won't go. Walton the rebound. Walton's played well off the bench. Ahead to Bynum running the floor. Catches, goes back up, and draws the foul.
I tell you what, if I'm a Laker coach or a Laker player, I am going to the big fella and saying, if you play this way, we win it all. This is the Andrew Bynum that we need. Presence on the defensive end. Talk about exploding, running the floor. Big guys, all you have to do is be in position to catch. The advanced pass from Luke Walton puts so much pressure on the defense. But Andrew Bynum getting it done on both ends.
And it's interesting, when you watch Bynum at both ends, he's still not elevating well. To me, he catches it there. He's got to be able to catch and dunk the ball right there. And even his contest on the last play against Scola, you just wonder how much lift he has right now in his legs.
He had the knee surgery for the second straight year. It stopped what was going to be an impressive season. This time he was able to come back, played the last 4 games of the regular season, now the playoffs. But it's clear he's not 100%. He's admitted that. Part of it's mentally right now trying to come back. Artest forces it up and finally gets one to go. He wanted a foul. He had been 0 for 4. Just past the midway point of the second. Right now, Lakers cruising. Kobe Bryant just 4 points. It's been a nice balanced attack. Artest staying in front of him nicely. Odom to Bynum. Up and in. Andrew Bynum, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. And a foul called, a technical foul called on Bynum as he was running down the floor, knocking down Brooks. Bynum fired up here in the first half. He has had his struggles.
But old school basketball here, big guy, keep the ball down low. That's not a technical foul. That's 2 guys getting caught up running the floor.
That second little right elbow, probably what warranted it. But Bynum is sharp early, as are the Lakers. He said he's getting tired of all the advice everybody's giving him about how to get back into the rhythm that he wants. As Brooks hits the technical foul.
Mike, you're absolutely right. As a player, you have to know who you're going to listen to and who you're not going to listen to. You've got to discard 95% of the people that want to give you advice.
He's only 21, and he's one of the more polite players you'll find in the NBA. He said he wants to tell people to bug off, but he's just too nice a kid to do it.
Well, then he should learn or have someone else do it for him, because he should listen to the coaching staff, Phil Jackson and his staff, and 1 or 2 selected players, and that's it.
Jackson has told him just be an anchor on defense. Well, he has been that here in the first half. Artest. Battier. That's the spot he likes from 3. Can't get it to go. They're 0 for 5 from downtown.
And Rick Adelman, searching for offense, has put Artest at the 4 and gone with 4 perimeter players.
Nice move from Bryant. Can't finish. Artest the rebound. Who will get hot for the Rockets? So far, no one's been able to find the range.
Part of the reason why is you got to give the Lakers defense credit. They're not allowing the Rockets to beat them on their own terms. Wafer gets the tough one in the foul.
Well, he'll be the one. He won't hesitate to be the guy. Wafer loves to shoot, a former draft pick of the Lakers, who's been a nice addition this year. He's bounced around the NBA 5 teams in 4 years, but he's found a nice home in Houston.
Well, you got to trust your teammates. That time off the ball movement, you swing the pass. Wafer catches it with the defense running at him. He's able to make a play.
Wafer played his college ball at Florida State. Second-round pick of the Lakers. Played only 16 games with him as a rookie. Misses that one. He's bounced around since with the Clippers, Denver, Portland, and now Houston. 15-point lead. Bryant throws at Battier and draws the foul. Battier now has 3 personal fouls. And that's certainly a critical player for Houston.
And the reason why is you see a different Kobe Bryant. He's not just strictly a jump shooter. He's putting pressure on Shane Battier to defend him. What happens is the great ones get to the free throw line, put the other team in the penalty, and good things happen.
And you're right, because he's going at the basket, especially against this small Rocket lineup, as Scola comes over to help on that penetration, even if Bryant had missed and not been fouled, Gasol is there to finish off the second shot. A good cut here in the triangle, putting Bryant in the post. Now as he attacks and Scola comes, even if that's not a foul, that's Gasol weak side offensive rebound and stick back.
Battier will sit with the 3 fouls. You look at the Rockets lineup now. Scola is the one player of size, followed by Artest and then 3 guards as Bryant hits it. But that has been effective for him going small. So Lowry and Brooks back in there with Wafer. Now he got 22 points. And there's just 4.5 left in the first half. Ariza. Nice job defensively inside. Wafer gets it to go. He is not shy about putting it up. An effective offensive player.
And I think Artest has to make quicker decisions with the ball. He's holding on to the ball too much.
Vujicic for 3. Gasol the rebound. And put back. Pau Gasul already with 9 boards. And the Lakers back up by 17.
The other game 6 we watched the Houston Rockets front line dominate. So far this afternoon, it has been the bigs for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Artest. And look who's in. Brent Barry, who's not played much in the series. In and out. Tipped by Scola, won't go. Barry's only played in 2 of the first 6 games. But he can certainly hit threes, and he has plenty of playoff experience.
Gives them a knockdown shooter offensively, but I don't like this lineup for the Rockets defensively. No interior presence.
Bryant can't go. Tipped by Artest. Gasul again. Pau Gasul, a huge first half. 9 points and 10 rebounds.
And that's what I'm talking about, Coach. The ability to get into the paint, dribble penetration, and offensive rebound.
And a nice pass, Scola to Wafer on the back door.
Exactly right, because again, there was a blow by Bryant. It's like an assist. He missed, but because Scola had to come over to help, no one was there to put a body on Gasul.
Scola now on Gasol, single coverage. Here's the help from Brooks. Inside pass, Ariza, and he's fouled on the entry pass by Aaron Brooks. It's going to be 2 on Brooks.
I think all of our psyches are jarred when we go into a situation like this where, there's so much energy, we have to live with it and have to displace it. And then there's so much, criticism that comes along with, lose, you're the end of the world. If you win, so you make mountains out of molehills. And so you really have to try and level the playing field, kind of balance it out. My mentor, Red Holzman, said, the middle way, the middle path is the way to go. Not too high, not too low.
Well, as we see every year in the playoff series, how the perception changes from one game to the next. You do have to keep yourself on an even keel. As you see Jack Nicholson trying to get the crowd going.
Oh, absolutely, and it's important. You have to, as a team, you don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low. Understand there's a task at hand, almost like Shane Bagley's mentality defensively with Kobe Bryant. You have to stay the course individually and collectively.
The criticism has been warranted, but Phil Jackson is right too. Within the team, you just have to stay focused on what you can control, which is your next game.
From Brooks leads to a slam by Ariza. 21-point lead, largest of the first half.
But Mike, Phil Jackson has a different coaching personality today than he used to have. He never gave credit to another team. He never gave credit to another coach. He was condescending. Some people would say arrogant, but it gave an edge to his team that I think his team misses now.
He used to take subtle shots all the time as Artest misses again. That's mellowing with age a little bit, realizing kind of team as a blocking foul call on Brent Barry. He's been in a number of Game 7s himself. He said the one that he remembers the most was when they beat Portland. That was back in 2002. They were down 15 in the 4th quarter, came back and won in the Western Conference Finals. So he also remembers Game 7 in 1970. He didn't play. He was injured that year when Willis Reed walked out of the tunnel at the Garden. So he walked right behind Willis coming out.
Wasn't he the unofficial team photographer? Yeah. He was taking pictures, wasn't he?
That's right. Assistant coach / photographer. He's trying to win his 10th NBA title, which would be an all-time record, right on time with Red Auerbach.
And Mike, a lot of people are making big things out of lost leads as well. Last year, the Lakers lost at home a 25 or 26-point lead to the Celtics. It doesn't matter how you win them or how you lose them. Their whole goal today is advance and get to the next round and still have home court advantage against a very good Denver team.
Brooks misses. Remember last year, the Celtics in the first round, people were really questioning them when they lost all the road games against the Atlanta Hawks, saying this team's not ready for a championship. Well, lo and behold, they won another title. There's Gasol, puts it up and in. What a first half. Pau Gasul, 11 points, 11 rebounds. A 25-point lead. The Lakers have blown this one open.
But getting back to your point about this being a different Phil Jackson, as a coach, there are things that you can allow to a team to do, and you can ignore it, but there are other things that's unacceptable. Not playing with energy, passion, or force. You cannot, as a coach, sugarcoat it. Call it as it is.
Well, and what you're saying is, from a coach's standpoint, this is what you want to see. You're not going to win every game, but in the playoffs, you should never have questions about energy and intensity.
Artest finally gets one to go, a three-pointer. It's been a while since he knocked one down. That's the first three-pointer for Rockets. They were 0 for 7. In this game, very reminiscent of Game 5. Remember Game 4 in Houston? The Lakers, even Magic Johnson said, were embarrassed, and they came back and won by 40. Very similar right now here in Game 7. Ariza gets inside. Won't go. Artest or Landry tips it. And Brooks will bring it up. Fisher with the foul. They had a foul to give. Coming up at half, Stuart Scott, John Barry, Michael Wilbon, and Magic Johnson. The T-Mobile halftime report. We'll take a look at tonight's big Game 7 from Boston, the Orlando Magic and the Celtics. And then their Fave 5 playoff moments, all coming up the T-Mobile halftime report. An anti-Houston chant here at the Staples Center. Crowd has been into it. Fans were crumbling before the game, talking to some of the season ticket holders, wondering why the team was so uneven in their performances. Nothing uneven here in the first half. Wafer, that's a two-pointer. Wafer's been able to score. He's 4 of 6. Final seconds. Bad pass, Landry. And that will end the first half. A dominant one for the LA Lakers, especially defensively. Houston just 31 points, 33% shooting, 7 turnovers. For the first time to start the second half, you heard Rick Adelman say, let's go out, establish yourselves, unlike they did to start the game when they missed their first 12 shots from the field. Not the same start in the second half as Brooks knocks down their first attempt. Lakers, during the course of the regular season, they had a lot of games where they had big leads and kind of relaxed a little bit. The Rockets have enough offensive firepower to get themselves back in. Gasol pass deflected, and you see the early activity.
There are teams that develop an identity where you're playing against when you're down big, and as a group, you get together and say, hey, this is a team that will let us back in the ball game. So if you're the Rockets, it's about executing and trying to get back in.
Battier. They really struggle from downtown. That's their 8th turnover. Kobe Bryant drives down a lane. Blocked by Chuck Hayes. Took it right out of his hand. And then they call a foul on Bryant. There was contact first after Hayes took the ball away. Danny Crawford said Bryant pushed him out of bounds.
That's good defense by Chuck Hayes. Not fouling Bryant. That's not a foul on Kobe Bryant. That actually should be the Lakers basketball. Chuck Hayes got away with it.
He didn't foul. Hayes didn't foul initially, but it didn't appear Bryant did. Hayes tried to call a timeout. You can't do that anymore as you're falling out of bounds. And a count. Foul on the Lakers as we check in with Doris Burke.
Mike, the Houston staff talked to their guys, one on the offensive end, about doing a better job getting to their second and third options. They feel like to release from the Lakers' pressure, they need to have some back cuts and more movement. Defensively, they feel like Gasol hurt them because of their inability to contain penetration. He was effective on the offensive end, getting to the glass. Those are their 2 areas of concern, guys.
Gasol had 4 offensive rebounds, 12 total, as Brooks gets in. Brooks to Chuck Hayes. Hayes stripped and a 24-second violation.
Well, the first 2 possessions of this quarter for the Rockets have been strictly pick and roll, but what you have to do is get into it earlier. You can't allow the clock to dwindle down and look to make plays and put the ball in the hands of Chuck Hayes.
The only player on the Rockets who shot the ball well in the first half was Von Wafer. He came off the bench at 4 of 6. He's their leading scorer, and he only played 8 minutes. Gasol, very aggressive right from the start. Bryant, good look. That's a three. Kobe Bryant from downtown.
thought that was a rare mistake by Shane Battier and the defensive end coming to give help when Chuck Hayes had Gasol pretty well in hand.
Bryant just 3 for 9 from the field. I don't think many thought with that shooting numbers from Kobe Bryant, they'd be up by 21. Scola double, kicks it out. Brooks goes right back inside. And the shot opportunity, just not good attempts by the Rockets.
Yeah, Aaron Brooks, you have to step in rhythm and take that shot. Force Chuck Hayes to get his off offensive rebound.
And Mike, Phil Jackson against Magic Johnson back when he was with the Bulls did the same sort of double teaming in the post, coming from the baseline side as Ariza gets to the rim, so that when Scola spins baseline, he's coming into more size versus double teaming from the top where you can see the double team better.
Artest with 3, in and out, won't go. Fisher the rebound. Scola had his way in game 6, especially early. Fisher on the drive, and a blocking foul call on Chuck Hayes. That'll be his first.
Well, here Gasol's at about 18 feet. Battier overhelps. Good pass by Gasol. Late close, and I still do not know how Kobe Bryant makes those shots when a guy's hand is going directly at your face. The natural instinct would be to snap your head back and avoid contact. Great concentration by Bryant.
Battier does it so well without fouling. And there are very few that can deal with that. Fisher, by the way, that's his first free throw attempt since game 2.
You know, I was thinking about Battier. He could probably be a good pickpocket. Putting his hand in and pulling it out right before contact.
Things don't work out in the NBA. There's another. You can make some good money that way. Scola knocks down the shot. 58-35. It has been all Lakers. Gasol against Hayes, using the big height advantage. Not that time.
No, but the good thing is Gasol is able to get to his spot because initially he's turning and facing Chuck Hayes, not allowing Hayes to use that strength.
Scola to Artest. Ariza's done a nice job at Artest. Chuck Hayes able to get it in. 6 points for Hayes. Battier trying to fight over the screen. Kobe Bryant got hit. Shot won't go. And he'll go back to the line. That's 4 fouls now on Shane Battier. Bryant, 4 for 4 from the line. Battier talking with Duke Callahan.
Give credit to Bryant. He's been pushing for that call all game long, talking about the contact when he lifts to shoot jumper.
This is the free throw tonight. Another game 7. Great matchup from Boston. Our friends at TNT will have the game. Magic and the Celtics. 8 Eastern start. The NBA Draft Lottery is Tuesday, 8:30. And, of course, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be here at the Staples Center. Lakers hosting the Nuggets, and when the Rockets make some kind of unbelievable comeback. Down by 22.
And I like keeping Shane Battier in the game, even though he's got 4 fouls. You're not saving, as Scola turns the ball over, you're not saving anybody in this game. Let your best players play, get it your best shot.
Battier has such a great way of dealing with Kobe Bryant. Bryant had 40 in game 2, and there were some with Houston that thought he did a good job defensively. Some nights Bryant was just magnificent. Fisher tried to jam it in there. Hayes with the steal. 2-on-1. Artest, Scola. And a foul by Ariza. Free throws for Houston.
It'll be interesting to watch as Rick Adelman switches and puts Ron Artest on Kobe Bryant, a way of keeping Shane Battier in the ball game. If you're Ron Artest, you have to be as disciplined as Battier in defending Bryant. Don't allow him to get to the line.
Bryant again took a lot of shots in game 1. Was magnificent in game 2. He's had to work for his points. Battier has done a good job, but it's not just Battier. He gets great help. Battier will be the first one to tell you Chuck Hayes' help defense has been a big part of making life difficult.
That's also Battier downplaying. He has done an outstanding job all series long in defending Bryant.
Artest is now on Bryant because Battier has the 4 fouls. So Bryant kicks it out. Fisher. Fisher for 3. He's tips to the Scola. Andrew Bynum still out there. He has played a very impressive game. Being the presence inside. Brooks on the drive, left-handed. Won't go. Ball tipped by Gasol, taken by Bryant. Brooks just 2 for 8 from the field.
That's just Bynum again using his limb.
Kobe Bryant, a 2-pointer. Lead back up to 22. Six and a half remaining in the third. Still plenty of time, but the Rockets have to start putting a dent into this huge lead. Scola tries a bank shot. Battier tried to tip it out. This is the type of performance most expected from the Lakers in this series, as Gasol can't hit, and he's the rebound. Scola on the drive. Blocked by Bryant, and gets a hold of it. Scola thought he was fouled. Ariza from the corner. Lobs it to Bynum.
That's how you keep your foot on the gas pedal. Turn down shots and force the issue offensively. Ariza making the play for Bryant.
Artest. Ariza trying to poke it away. Inside pass to Scola. Scola goes hard, draws the foul.
They just have not gotten him the same quality shots that he's gotten at home here in the Staples Center.
Brooks, their first-round pick out of Oregon back in 2007. As Scola misses a free throw. Played 4 years of college at Oregon. Last year, played about 12 minutes a game. This year, all of a sudden, in February, he becomes the starting point guard when they traded Rafer Alston, obtaining Kyle Lowry. Even Rick Adelman said he was concerned. He was worried it was a big risk, a young player like that. And like many young players, has his ups and downs. He's had some wonderful moments, but still learning about pressure games like this in the NBA. Obviously, it's his first Game 7. Bryant wants the ball. Three-pointer. Way off. Artest did a good job contesting. Brooks fires away. That's a good 3. Makes his 3rd field goal. He's back to 20. He's the first Rocket in double figures. Bynum. Nice move, Bynum. He's got 12.
Nothing like having big guys that you can throw the ball to, as Coach talked about in the first quarter, to stop the bleeding. The Lakers patiently getting the ball into the hands of their big men. Back-to-back post plays by Pau and then Bynum.
Bynum, before the knee injuries, on the cusp of perhaps being an all-star in this league. Brooks contested nicely by Bynum. Ball batted around. Scola tries to save it. Last touch by Ariza.
This is when Andrew Bynum is at his best. Confidence. Says, everybody get out of my way. This is a one-on-one play for me and Scola. Patiently makes a move. The bank is open.
Hayes flips it up and gets the bounce. Scola touched the rim. The Lakers wanted to call, but the ball had gone through. Bynum, remember, he was scoreless in 3 of the first 6 games, including Game 6, but he's got 12 points on 5 of 6 from the field. Fisher, the Gasol, left-handed, Bynum right there to clean it up. His best game of the playoffs, and it's a 22-point Laker lead.
And the great thing is, you look at what Andrew Bynum is doing this afternoon. Nothing is out of character. These are all things that he's capable of doing night in and night out.
Battier. Scola tried to deflect it. Battier, nice save, diving. The grit and the hustle is always there for the Houston Rockets. Right now, they can't make shots.
They're having trouble making clean passes to open players.
Brooks getting it going a little bit. He's got 13 now.
Those are really missed assignments by Derek Fisher. The first three by Brooks went underneath the screen and roll, and that time fell asleep on the weak side.
Under 3 minutes remaining in the third. Artest too aggressive. That's their third team foul. 2 on Artest.
The problem with any type of penetration is it causes help. Scola had to come over to help on Gasol. Bynum left alone on the weak side. Easy putback.
Really, for the first time in this series, a huge Laker height advantage has really worked well. 9 turnovers now by the Lakers after that errant pass. Hayes 7 on the shot clock. And that's just you just can't be making that kind of pass right now.
And that's where Aaron Brooks, he has to get the basketball and run offense. Their best offense is pick and roll with Brooks.
Too many times as the shot clock flying down, Chuck Hayes has the ball in his hands. Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. New Fuel Max tires get you there using less gas. Fuel Max only from Goodyear. 2.5 remaining here in the third. Lakers in complete control. And the Rockets, they may fall short of their goal of getting to the Western Conference Finals, but they've had some great moments in these playoffs, including Shane Battier's play, which led to a very special moment for him recently.
It might be classified, but I have a buddy of mine, Reggie Love, who was the president's body man, and Reggie was my teammate at Duke, and so we're still pretty close. And he told me that the president was watching, and he was proud of my leadership in the face of adversity after Yao went out, and we won that great Game 4, and which is a pretty cool text message to get. It's one you don't get every day.
Oh, sir.
I have 2 thoughts. One, did he text him back? And 2, would he contest with his hand in President Obama's face if he got to play against him at the White House? Or would he, let up and let him just shoot the open left-hand J? I don't see him doing this to the president. You might be arrested for that.
Secret Service would be on top of it in a second.
I read Reggie Love took a blow in one of their pickup games recently and broke his nose.
Well, that's a blow you got to take.
The officials looking. They don't know who had it. They're going to jump it up. The pass inside. All 3 officials check with each other. Nope. Now they're going to say Danny Crawford says nope. It didn't look like it touched anybody. Probably Laker ball, but when the officials don't know, nobody has a clear indication. They say jump it up at center court. Any 2 can jump. By the way, that last offensive foul on Bynum was his second.
How about instant replay for that when they don't know?
Well, we might be headed towards that.
That might be a good use of instant replay.
David Stern saying the other day in one of his press conferences they're going to look into instant replay. They're using it more to help out. As a foul call, Kobe Bryant driving. We're not in the penalty yet. That's the 4th with 1:58 remaining in the third. Hayes picks up his second. Yao Ming was so devastated when he had the injury. Finally had a healthy season, was playing so well. He's been cheering on his teammates. The key now for Houston is hopefully he'll be healthy for next year. You get bored sitting on the bench. You want to be out there as Bynum gets a much-deserved ovation coming off the floor.
Can't make an excuse for Yao Ming yawning.
Sure, it's a matter of, I don't think you get oxygen to the brain. It's not a matter of being bored. Gasol throws it away. Brooks left his feet again. He's done that a couple of times. Brooks is a talented young player, but he's showing his inexperience here this afternoon.
Well, that's a good job by the Lakers getting back in transition. We talked about stopping Aaron Brooks with 5 guys running back, forcing him to stay out of the paint area. This is just a good job, not giving up on a play. Look at the effort by Pau Gasul. Jordan Farmer stops the dribble penetration, then multiple effort plays getting after the loose ball.
For the Rockets to get back in this game, they had a small margin of error. They have 6 turnovers in the third. Brooks slapped away by Ariza. Far more to save. Great play from Trevor Ariza. And the crowd gets on its feet. Kobe Bryant throws it up in the basket trying to draw a foul. We've seen Trevor Ariza with those type of recovery defensive plays so often this season. And Odom with both hands on Scola.
It's just a good job of getting back. You don't just rely on Jordan Farmer to get back and stop Aaron Brooks. You have transition defense responsibilities also. Outstanding job by Trevor Ariza.
And also outstanding job of officiating by Danny Crawford. Not anticipating that there's going to be contact and a foul, but letting your eyes focus on the play and see that there was no foul.
Danny Crawford in his 25th year. Joey Crawford in his 32nd. Mike Callahan in his 19th. This is a well-experienced, top officiating crew for an important game. As Scola misses both free throws, and if the Rockets wanted to get back in, they needed to hit their free throws, not turning the ball over, and that has not happened here in the third quarter.
Oh, Mike, what you talk about Yao Ming being bored on the sideline, you can also be bored up 19, 20 points. If you're the Lakers, your job is to finish the course. Continue to make the right plays and take care of the basketball. In the last couple of possessions, they have not.
Pau Gasol.
And one way to get Pau Gasol away from Chuck Hayes is pick and roll, because Houston forces it to the baseline. It gives Gasol a running start at Hayes as he's closing out.
Final minute of the third quarter. Artest spinning. And a foul. Continuation. Count it and one. Kobe Bryant upset, and that's 4 fouls on Bryant, who's walking away from Danny Crawford. Now looks at him. There's certainly not a lot there. The continuation part was right, whether or not there's a foul. Well, Bryant will sit down. Rebounding, by the way, has been huge here in this game. Lakers plus 14, and another missed free throw from the Rockets. They missed 4 free throws here in this third quarter. Farmer throws it away. Shot clock is turned off. Rick Adelman told his team cut into the lead. The halftime lead was 20. It's still at 19 right now for the Lakers. Brooks. Artest steps back. He's going to have to put it up. Launches a three. And that will end the third quarter. Welcome back to Los Angeles. Fourth quarter set to begin here in Game 7 of this Western Conference semifinals. It's been all Lakers up by as many as 25. Burger King presents our late game adjustments. Doris Burke with head coach Phil Jackson.
Coach, in each Houston win, Aaron Brooks has had an impact on your team. What have you done more effectively with him?
Just what I said before the game. We got to ham him in, try to corral him, use the sideline and baseline to help us try and stop his speed, which is quite outstanding.
Andrew Bynum has been as effective as he's been all postseason. Why?
Well, you know, Andrew's a young player. He plays better at home. That's going to be a part of it. But, you know, we do have an effective inside game because of size. And they're focusing on Pau, and Drew's getting some easy things.
Mike.
Well, Doris, the whole team plays better at home. The 6 home playoff games coming in, they average 110 points, shoot 51%. But it's been their home defense that really has been the key today, Jeff.
Yeah, they've swarmed right from the start. You've got to give them a lot of credit. Good bounce-back performance on the defensive end by the Lakers.
I like that. If you're defending Aaron Brooks, they have a strategy here this afternoon. So, therefore, you know who's making a mistake, who's breaking down, because if he beats us, he's going to beat us in a certain direction, corralling him and forcing him in different areas.
The Lakers right now 12 minutes away from calming the Laker faithful. He was a little nervous, and perhaps setting up that series with the Denver Nuggets as Luke Walton called for the foul. A 19-point game. Opening seconds here of the fourth quarter. 2 fouls on Walton. Shannon Brown's going to make his first appearance as Brian Rest. Brown has played very well in the playoffs as a backup point. Now playing the two. They got three guards out there, and Farmar, Brown, and Vujicic.
And I like that Phil Jackson, as Brooks rises up, shortened his guard rotation in the first half. I thought it gave the Lakers better flow offensively.
Ball deflected out. Brown, who has played a lot, did not in the first half. It was just Farmar and Fisher. Fisher finally got some shots to go down.
Hard rotating minutes with 3-point runs.
Landry the drive. Can't finish. Gasol with his 15th rebound of the game. Big performance from Pau Gasol.
He wanted to throw that ball at Scola.
And they've had a couple of pushes and shoves after the whistle. Brown, he's got terrific hops. Flips that one in. It's back to 21.
That was a fake hustle throw attempt. Neither one of these guys, and Charles Oakley, he's here, but he's not in uniform.
Lowry the drive, tries to draw the foul. Gasol just went straight up. And we have a late whistle, but a foul call. It goes against Gasol. That's his second. Lowry to the line. Meanwhile, Tuesday night on ESPN, a big night of NBA programming. First at 8:30 Eastern, the 2009 NBA Draft Lottery, followed by the Western Conference Finals Game 1. It'll either be right here in LA, Lakers hosting the Nuggets, or if we see one of the great comebacks in NBA playoff history, it would be the Nuggets hosting the Rockets. 9 Eastern start. Lottery before, Sacramento will have the most ping pong balls. Griffin, many feel, will be the #1 pick. 71-52. Lakers by 19. They have led by double figures most of the way since 7 minutes into the game. Gasol's tip, second effort. Gasol dominating down low. He's even screaming as he runs up the floor, showing some emotion.
There's a lot of screamers in this league up 20, Mike.
Lowry tried to save it, but it stepped out of bounds. Gasol with 15 points, 17 rebounds.
Gasol's just pounded the board. Again, nobody on him to block out. Good second jump and the dexterity to tip those balls with his left hand. Very good finish by Gasol.
An amazing skilled player for a 7-footer. Odom for three. Coming up on 2 minutes gone by. And what has been a dominant Laker performance. Landry, short. Odom having some fun as he rips down the rebound. Ricky's talking to Landry as they come up the floor. Landry talking right back to him. Scola with the deflection. Odom pushes him off. Scola grabs his jersey and then the foul. And Odom wisely walks away. Scola frustrated.
The Lakers are being very loose with the ball. Here they got away with what should have been a turnover. Should have been a foul on Scola earlier, and then Scola gets the extra little bump.
The series early on, first couple of games, is very physical as Scola fouls Gasol. That's 4 on Scola. Certainly a little frustration.
But I don't even think it's frustration. I think it's a guy trying to close out a season. Scola's basically sending a message, we're going to go down, but we're going to go down on my turn. I'm going to continue to fight until this game is over. That's something to basically copy if you're another guy on the Rockets.
That's the kind of player he is. As Farmar misses. Wafer had a hot hand briefly in the second. Wafer blocked by Odom. Terrific defensive play. Farmar throws it behind, and Lowry comes up with it. And Wafer down the other end, able to finish. 9 block shots in the game for the Lakers. Vujicic, an air ball. Wafer can't get it to go. Brown the rebound, and a foul on Lowry. Didn't give Brown time to come down, or room to come down. And we'll have a timeout. 8:37 remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Lakers continue to dominate. Some NBA celebs in attendance. The aforementioned Charles Oakley, former terrific Knick. Meanwhile, Gary Payton also watching, the former Laker late in his career. And, of course, the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's got to be proud of Andrew Bynum. He's having his best game of the playoffs. And the Lakers have dominated this game right from the opening seconds. Brown shot short.
Do you think Kareem could have gotten 10 points tonight in an NBA game?
Vujicic to steal. He probably could. Vujicic to finish. Lowry did a good job trying to come back. Crowd wanted a foul. I think that's just a good hustle play. He's back up to 21.
And I say yes, and I'll also say those three guys plus you two could have beaten the Lakers one game in a series.
Blocked by Gasol, the 10th block shot of the game. Hopefully probably could have got 10 rebounds in the game today. And Brown lost it out of bounds. Last touch by Lowry.
I'll tell you this. That guy could score on anybody, anywhere, anytime. Oakley was the best big man help defender in my time in the NBA, and Gary Payton was as hard to score against for a point guard as anybody.
Shot clock winding down. Vujicic for three. That's good. 24-point lead with 7.5 to play. And the Laker fans starting to celebrate.
There's a bright spot of you, Phil Jackson, getting Vujicic going. Last the air ball before the timeout as Scola scores in the last two plays. Looks like the old machine.
Pau Gasul with a huge game 7. Knocks down another. 17 points, 17 rebounds, and throwing 3 block shots. Wafer took his eye off it. And that's the 16th turnover for the Rockets. Turnovers have been a problem throughout the series for him.
We talked about Pau being most effective when he turns and faces. Here's a guy that has a variety of moves on the block. Certainly has the ability to make plays putting it on the floor.
Gasol, the drive! Beautiful move from Pau Gasol. Well, this is the largest lead of the game. Timeout, Rockets. They're on their feet at Staples Center. When you look at the fact that Kobe Bryant has just 14 points on 4 of 12 from the field, you'd never expect that this to be the type of blowout. But it's been a total team effort by the Lakers, especially on that defensive end, as Odom grabs the rebound. And this is so similar to Game 5 when they won by 40. That one was not a contest at all. Odom inside pass to Gasol, not expecting it.
I tell you one group that's disappointed in the results so far this afternoon, that's the Denver Nuggets. Because truth be told, they would much rather face a short-handed Houston Rockets team than a loaded Los Angeles Lakers team that's tough to beat and they play hard.
And if they tell otherwise, they're not telling the truth.
It's just a fact. Yeah, it's just a fact. It's no knock. And he's not saying you're afraid of the Lakers. The bottom line is advancing and putting yourself in position to win.
And also against Houston, they'd have home court advantage. There's many reasons for them to want the Rockets to win.
The Lakers taking time off the clock on each possession. Odom pulls back, has to throw up the 3. That won't go. Brown tried to tip it. Comes away with a rebound. Good hustle from Shannon Brown. And the crowd shows its appreciation. Vujicic looking. The floater. Ball tipped and taken by Artest as we're coming up on 5 minutes remaining. And what will be a tough way to end the season for the Rockets, despite the fact that they impressed so many people during the playoffs, and especially here in this series as Landry misfires. You consider all the injuries that they had. And that was, of course, finalized by Yao Ming being injured in Game 3. The fact that they're even here, they deserve so much credit.
The interesting thing is you take a look on the sideline, Phil Jackson going back with Kobe Bryant in the ballgame. That's pretty dangerous in my opinion.
Gasol putting on the finishing touches on a brilliant performance.
Interesting. I would like to know what his rationale is. As Kobe Bryant is sharing some of his thought with Brent Berry, like, you can't guard me. I hope you're guarding me.
Wafer misses. Gasol hauls in his 18th rebound. Well, if you look at the Rockets this year, 53 wins in the regular season. Made the second round for the first time in 12 years. They had lost 6 straight first-round matchups. Took some nice steps as the ball knocked out of bounds. But they will have a very big offseason coming up as Kobe Bryant will check back in the game. And a lot has to do with their injured stars. Yao Ming, they expect him to be back after the hairline fracture in his foot. Tracy McGrady, who's not here, who's back in Chicago rehabbing after the knee surgery. Both have had their share of injuries over the last several years, and it's tough to get momentum when your best players are always injured. And Vucevic knocks it down.
Well, you look at that free agent list, to me, the easiest decision the Rockets had this year because of what they gave up was to trade for Ron Artest. The harder decision is how much to commit to him, both money and years-wise, because of his unpredictable nature. And I think trying to sign Von Wafer, who has had a major impact, and then who's your backup to Yao Ming next year? You're going to stay small? Can you get a size veteran who can back up Yao Ming and keep his minutes down?
Artest, an unrestricted free agent. And again, Yao played 77 games this year. McGrady played very little. He's had the knee problems. They very rarely have had the two of them healthy. The team has such potential. And again, have such great role players around them.
And you really don't know when you're planning for next year, you have no idea when McGrady is going to be fully healthy off that microfracture surgery, which also impacts your decision making.
Well, it'll be interesting because as a team, as the crowd acknowledges Pau Gasul in a spectacular play all afternoon long.
He deserves it. 21 points, 18 rebounds, 3 block shots, aggressive right from the opening seconds.
The point I was making is interesting as a team. You can't say, okay, things are going to go well, we're going to be healthy, and we're going to pick up where we left off next year. It is important to continue to make the right moves to put yourself in position to have this similar type of run.
And I think Houston has one of the most underrated general managers in basketball in Daryl Morey. He has done an absolutely fabulous job in the complementary pieces to McGrady and Yao Ming. They're much better equipped now to play championship level basketball as Vucevic knocks another one than they were 2 years ago. He's going to have another big offseason.
See, and you're better than me. I'm not giving a shout out to a guy that fired. I'm just not doing it.
That's a good point. No, but he deserves it. Hey, the proof's in the pudding. Who he's drafted, who he's traded for, who he signed as a free agent. Done a remarkable job.
Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. New Fuel Max tires get you there using less gas. Fuel Max only from Goodyear. A terrific series will end in a blowout as the Lakers will advance to the Western Conference Finals with a dominant performance over the Houston Rockets. And the question now, as Landry puts up a shot, for the pessimists, they'll say, all right, this series maybe expose some weaknesses for the Lakers and maybe will take its toll. Or you can look at it, this is the type of series that can strengthen them for future tough battles. Got them a little adversity and able to overcome it. Which way do you look at it, guys? Mark?
Well, for me, the way I look at it, I don't think the Lakers are going to be as inconsistent because the respect level when you talk about the Denver Nuggets and the way that they're playing, the Lakers have no choice but to show up every single night or they will be embarrassed, and the Denver Nuggets are a team that's more than capable of beating them. So I expect to see a great series, Coach.
To me, I don't think this series strengthened them or weakened them. I think they are who they are, as Banga showed hands of stone on that catch. But I just think they, you can't change players' personalities. They are who they are. They've got a great competitor. They've got great competitiveness in the backcourt. They're a little bit inconsistent in the front court.
Also, what today showed was what a difference active Andrew Bynum can make in this team at both ends of the floor. He can be a defensive anchor and such a good low post threat as well. And he can play like this. Doesn't have to be huge, but minutes like this as Landry blocks Josh Powell's shot. Coming up on a minute remaining. So for the West, it'll be the #1 seed Lakers against the #2 seeded Denver Nuggets. Congratulations to them on making their first conference final in 24 years. Chauncey Billups has done a tremendous job since being acquired. Kenyon Martin's defense, and of course Carmelo Anthony in full bloom in these playoffs. He has been superb.
And I love their bench. I love Denver's bench of J.R. Smith, Anthony Carter, and Chris Anderson.
Crowd, most of them on their feet. As we said, they were fired up to start. They booed the part of the national anthem that said Rockets Red Glare. They've been cheering ever since. Kobe Bryant and the Lakers putting a pounding on the Rockets. A tough way for the Rockets to finish after a terrific season and such a hard-fought series for them. But it's the Lakers who will keep their dreams of an NBA championship alive. Lowry knocks down the three. So game one will be here Tuesday night. It's every other night for the conference finals. Game one on ESPN Tuesday night, 9 Eastern time. The draft lottery precedes that. Wenger fires up to Jepper. Lowry will bring it up. Now, as we said, Lakers' hopes of an NBA championship still alive as they survive against a gritty, tough Houston Rockets team, and now advance to the Western Conference Finals. A dominant blowout victory here in Game 7. Times it was a tough physical series, but showing respect now. Bill Jackson was very complimentary of the Houston Rockets. Jackson and Adelman have squared off against each other a number of times with different teams. Kobe Bryant, only 14 points, but it was many of his teammates who came up huge. You always like to see this after a hard-fought series. You saw Bryant and Shane Battier, those two competitors. Tough to find two guys who are more competitive than Battier and Bryant.
Well, it really shows you the respect level that guys have in this league. The appreciation that we can go to battle. It can get testy at times, but at the end of the day, it's nothing but love, respect, and admiration.
Bynum is going to be smiling after his best performance of the playoffs. Battier waving to some of the Rockets faithful as the Lakers win to advance. Kobe Bryant right now with Doris.
Kobe, your team has been criticized throughout the course of this series for some inconsistencies in terms of effort and approach. Today, a different competitive spirit on the defensive side of the floor. Why?
You just got to pick it up. You know, the playoff series, we love to get opportunities back. We obviously didn't play as well on the road as we wanted to outside of Game 3. And we just had to come home, you know, put the last game behind us and perform well.
Andrew Bynum having the best game of his postseason. When he plays at that level, how hard are the Lakers to beat?
Well, it's tough. You know, he's very active defensively. Him and Pau both. You know, that's something that we talked about them doing, you know, a better job of in this game, just being more active defensively. And you know, they provided a big spark for us.
I'm going to ask you to switch gears quickly. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the matchup with the Denver Nuggets?
You know, another physical series. So, you know, we got our hands full with them. You know, we know they're rested. We know they're ready. You know, I know Melo and Chauncey, those guys, going to be ready, but we will be too.
You're smiling now. Congratulations.